Welcome back to episode 3 of our Fortnite show. We are reacting to the new Battle Royale mode in Call of Duty. What do we know about it? Going to talk about it with the crew. They have added a solo competition mode where you can win V-Bucks in Fortnite. They've nerfed traps. There's a lot going on. I'm here with the crew. Brought in James Duggan this week. James, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
And Steven Rue back at it. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
Exciting week, huh?
Yeah, very exciting week. I mean, this is the tip of the E3 2018 Battle Royale iceberg.
Yes.
That we just saw with Blackout.
It is a Battle Royale frenzy, I think is what we're seeing. So we're just going to get right into it. It's called Call of Duty Blackout.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout.
Yeah, okay. To be fair,
I don't know.
It is probably that. I think they just presented it as Blackout, but...
Well, we can't really knock them for having name problems with not having a name ourselves on this show.
When Infinity Ward made Infinity War, it's very confusing sometimes. So anyway, let's get into it. Fortnite versus this. We'll talk a little bit about what this means for Fortnite. We don't know a ton. What do we know so far? James, let's start with you.
Sure. Okay, so we know the map is 1,500 times the size of Nuketown. So it's large. It's a large, I think, Fortnite or potentially larger sized map. And their whole design motif is it's a crazy collision of fun. That's what they're trying to go for here. The comparison I made earlier in a conversation I had with Destin was in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, you can get an SKS, a Mark 14, and a Mini 14. And for all extents and purposes, those weapons behave very similar to one another. They're all semi-automatic sniper rifles.
Yes.
I want to see more Battle Royales go nuts with the variants. I want, as soon as I drop, the biome to be populated with these pickups that translate to completely different gameplay experiences, and I think that's what's happening with this mode.
Before we get too deep into it, of course, because I know you have a lot of commentary on that, what's just the basic roundup? So, they talked about map size.
Talked about map size.
Think that equates to a Fortnite-sized map?
I think
on that, or
yeah, I didn't do the math on that at all. That's just guessing, and I wasn't very good in math in high school, so or college.
Stev, you've played a bunch of Nuketown. Do you think it's like if it's 15 Nuketowns, like in your mind's eye?
Sorry, 1,500. Is very important. So it is very large.
It's very large.
Yeah.
And it's a FPS, so you got to equate that into the equation too. So.
The boots on the ground, it sounds pretty big.
Yep.
So,
land, sea, air vehicles. That's another thing straight away, and that's separating it from Fortnite, which obviously still doesn't have vehicles. Sea and air. Which is not in Call of Duty's repertoire.
We'll get into what that means based on our previous Black Ops games. What else did they say?
It will have the most iconic parts of your favorite map, favorite characters, and favorite weapons, which goes back to what I was talking about with the variants of gameplay, things like the RCXD, which is a remote-controlled drone, potentially the grapple gun, the grav slam, riot shield, things that generally are reserved for specialists, and zombies weapons. And if that includes...
that will be in there, right?
Yeah, and if that includes wonder weapons, that's the ray gun, thunder gun, lightning bow, flamethrowers, stuff like that. So it could be totally off the walls bonkers.
Yeah, so I want to get into all the detail, but like, if you think about it, here's kind of what I'm hearing. I mean, technically, the game is probably out. Do we know? Is it October?
October 10th or 12th.
Did they say that Blackout would be ready then?
Yes.
I don't know if they did.
Yes.
So it's probably fairly along, but then again, we look at something like Fortnite's Battle Royale, which was done in a couple months.
2 months.
I don't think it's on that track, but I'm hearing they're like, let's take everything what people love about Black Ops, and we're just going to take from everything, which is actually cool. It's got a history. Steven, I know you're a fan of Black Ops. So yeah, like in your mind, like kind of what's happening, is it like, what do you think they're going to bring back and lean into in that world?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, is if you're going to make a Battle Royale, especially from a AAA studio, you got to come in fist swinging, because you need to overtake Fortnite and you need to overtake PUBG. And if they're taking all these elements and it's a crazy, unbalanced, fun at times experience, I don't think it would last. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, maybe to address that point, this is Activision basically is a 3 studio, if not more, when they go at Call of Duty. They get a lot of people involved. And you look at it compared to Epic, you saw what they were able to do. They make, I should say, one of the best engines in the world with tons of awesome available tech. That's how they were able to turn so quickly. Plus, they had a game that was in the makings for 5 years, right? And they spun that up into this. But if you look at how much power they have, it's a lot of talent. So it's really interesting to see what they're going to be able to do.
They do. And I think the moment-to-moment combat fidelity in Call of Duty, maybe in a conventional context, may not be exciting to some folks.
Yeah.
But in a Battle Royale context, that moment-to-moment experience, I think, is second to none. And I would wager, as somebody who's playing PUBG in beta, I would wager that one of the reasons why Fortnite eventually kind of has overtaken it is because it was able to come to consoles, multi-platform, almost simultaneously and run at 60
Smoothly.
FPS there.
Yeah.
So now I think it does have some serious competition. Obviously, the big differentiating factor there is Call of Duty is a paid experience. Fortnite is still free.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to get into, because this is, a Fortnite show, let's talk about, as much as we might want to get into some of the other details, I actually want to dig into, like, what does this mean for Fortnite? I think there's going to be a reaction, and is a reaction happening right now. Oh, this will never be as good as Fortnite, the fans, right? And then there's the other side, which is like, they love Call of Duty, and they're like, I can't wait. I need something else to play. But I think it assumes that it's going to be the same type of game. But I think if we look at the details, it may not be. What do you guys think? Do you think it'll feel like Fortnite?
Go ahead.
At a base? Or PUBG?
It'll feel like a battle royale, and PUBG is very slow and methodical. Call of Duty is obviously not known for that.
Yeah.
In terms of the people saying, "Oh, Fortnite's in trouble," stuff like that, PUBG had, I think, 1.5 million concurrent players today, and they're both fine. So I don't think this.
That has been dropping though.
Yeah,
And to talk about that analog, when I was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite Battle Royale came along, I think the common narrative in that community was, oh, this is going to blow over. This is just a fad. This is somebody copying this game. Clearly, that didn't pan out that way.
Yeah.
And while Call of Duty does not have building in the game, I would say make no mistake about it. I think that Call of Duty Blackout will be a direct competitor with Fortnite.
Yeah, and I think competition is great because it breeds. It makes the company
excellence.
Yeah, it makes the company strive for changes to compete.
But I'm wondering, like, it sounds big. It actually reminded me right away. If you haven't heard too much about it yet, there's a game called Europa, I believe, from Tencent. Who it's this sort of tease for a battle royale game with like boats in it, and it's got like these destructible walls, and it's got its whole aesthetic. But it had big vehicle moments in it. We think Battlefield might be coming out and going in that direction. We're not sure yet, right?
We'll find out very soon.
But yeah, we should know next week on that one. We might have two very big battle royales coming at us. But like again, I want to go back to the gameplay. Like to me, Call of Duty's like so fast moving, get in, kill each other very quick. And it's not slow. Or could it be now? Like how do you envision it as a Call of Duty fan? Hopping in a boat and
we don't know how many players there are.
Yeah.
It could be like 300 for all we know.
Oh, maybe and increase the size.
Yeah, if there was a bunch of players and they kept the Call of Duty time to kill, they haven't said how they're going to reduce the map size. I'm assuming they're going to, so it doesn't turn into a camp fest.
Presumably it has a storm.
It could be like crazy. And if you get kills, you can get like score streaks, right? Or kill streaks.
Potentially, that could be a part of it. I mean, score streaks.
Yeah.
Score streaks could also be a big
I highly doubt you just fly in with a ray gun, right?
Yeah, or I also hope that you don't fly in with some kind of specialized ability like what is that guy's name? Ruin has the grapple gun and the grav slam. I hope all that stuff is pickups. They could still totally miss on this, and I think we have to see things like a gameplay demo. We have to see details. We have to see how committed they are to supporting this because Epic is super committed into Fortnite.
Yeah.
So is this just the token battle royale mode, or is this more than that?
Yeah. So I certainly don't think so. I think that they're taking it very seriously, and when you look at Fortnite as a business model, as Activision is going to, it is hand over fist with all the skins.
Yeah.
And what does this mean for microtransactions in the Call of Duty world? What's been the history in the?
They've gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. Well, I can't speak to the Black Ops world, but I can speak to Call of Duty going back 10 years when they were completely non-existent in the game. And then with World War II, you had that Destiny Tower-esque base where you could see other people open loot boxes. So it's just a part of gaming now. Like I think loot boxes, I think limited time. I think the next thing we're going to see that we've already seen and is in Fortnite is this limited time to purchase a skin craze where even the regular day in, day out skin purchases are, hey, quick, who knows when this will be back in the store?
Yeah, that's
it really lights a fire under your butt to try and
some
get those
skins
V-Bucks.
Still have only been in the item shop just once.
Yeah. Do you think Call of Duty, Black Ops in particular, Steven, do you think it has a really good base of stuff that you want to see? And like, what would you think about where you're like, actually, I really want to see them, whatever, make a zombie skin or make a, like, what would you point to that you want to see?
In terms of Black Ops, it's always been like weapon skins, different calling cards or name cards. They're not really known for like skins, like character model skins. So
it's always paint on the guns.
Yeah, but it's always been like you get to a certain level, you unlock the weapon skin. And if they went to a direction where it's like you pay $5.99 for a bunch of weapon skins, I don't think the community would like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so who knows? I mean, maybe they won't do this, but it really seems like they're going to lean into it. But it was like, as a base, you're right. It's like a lot of like camo skins. It's not as playful.
Yeah.
I wonder how they take this in that new direction.
And you
you
gotta
see the
think
stuff they put in Fortnite. I mean,
An angle they might play is Fortnite is free to play, but they have all these microtransactions. We are not a free to play game, but we will have no microtransactions.
That would be fantastic. I really doubt that'll happen. I think the whole incentivization from a corporate standpoint and a money-making standpoint is to get this mode where you can start, for lack of a better word, nickel and diming folks as you go along. That's how you sustain the development resource cost of a mode like Blackout.
yeah, I mean, there is a ton of server cost. Call of Duty makes a ton of money, so I'm sure they can afford it. But you know, more than anything, you look at Fortnite. Nobody's complaining as high as those prices are. By the way, they're
no one complains.
stupid sometimes.
Yeah, no one
I'm going to
complains.
complain.
$30.
Those prices are too much.
That is.
They should come down, but the only way to get them to come down is to stop buying them, and everybody is buying them.
But like, even if they didn't come down, people are still buying them.
That's my point. Yeah. So, okay, so
Yep.
are you guys excited by this? There's been a commentary going on for a while now. The what if? You know, are there going to be just all these battle royales? Like people, your reaction, you mentioned, James, at first it was sort of like, oh, great, you're going to copy PUBG. It was very special to everyone at the time, which drew inspiration from his original work in H1Z1 and stuff like that. So, I mean, are you excited by this?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
And I was excited when they decided they were going to get weird with it. They were going to put things like the RCXD in it and potentially have these vastly different gameplay experiences in the game as hopefully pickups. That's what I want to see out of this. That's where I want to see Battle Royale go. I want it to be less minutia between, oh, I'm going to swap the SKS for the Mini 14 because I have more 5.56 ammo. That to me is nowhere near as an interesting gameplay decision as, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go for a melee build this time or something like crazy. That's where I want to see it go.
Yeah.
And during the event, they really specified on group play. They didn't really say if it was group only or solo only, but they were talking about group play, like if you were together with a
Squads.
team, you're going to dominate or something
You're
like
in
that.
your helicopter, like you're in
Yeah,
your
so
vehicles.
if you go like maybe a player in your squad goes melee build, someone goes like a
Grav,
support build,
hammer,
yeah, they could
whatever.
go. They could go crazy
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it could get nuts.
What I love about all this is like Battlefield in a way was like, you know, was almost 50 v 50, right? Original. It's just you didn't whittle it down to the last few players. There's a lot of point systems, but it was like the models there. Now we're gonna see Battlefield come out. You're gonna be in a copter. You're gonna be in a boat. Things are expanding. But I think what I'm hearing from you guys is you want to see them go a little crazier.
I want to. I think a lot of people would still be into the military simulation style battle royale game, and it'd be fine. But for me,
Just
I
a
think at
little
this
on the
point,
nose.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think the potential is given Call of Duty, you know, the loadout progression, going prestige? Do you think they might bring that to Blackout? Like what I was thinking about is for a long time in Fortnite, I keep looking at Save the World, and I'm like, I kind of wouldn't mind a mode where there's player progression.
Yeah.
And rolls on stuff, maybe. That's my
Especially
destiny stuff
aesthetically.
talking
And I think that's a really interesting point because what Fortnite does not have the ability to do, and this is going to sound a little bit mean, but I just don't think Save the World is really something a lot of people are interested in. I know a couple people play it, but when you compare that
Just two.
to the gameplay, when you compare that to the gameplay of zombies and your conventional Call of Duty multiplayer, I think both of those experiences blow Save the World out of the water. So you could have things that are cross-promoting between various modes. Go to this zombies map and get this skin in Blackout. But yeah, I think prestige and player progression is an essential part of the Call of Duty DNA. So to not have that, at least aesthetically, I feel like might be a miss for them. Obviously, I don't think anybody at this table, and correct me if I'm wrong, wants to see people changing their loadouts, getting an edge up on players who've played less.
That's when you.
I think that's
when you're
distinctly not part of
you're
the
stepping into dangerous waters.
right Battlefield ethos. Or
Yeah,
Battle
I think there's room for that though, but that's like the advanced, you know, persistent side of it. Maybe a competitive side where you start reaching into that. But here's another important question: a big reason that Fortnite's successful is because it's free.
Yep.
So what does this mean for Blackout? Do we know yet? Did they
Well,
explicitly say that it costs money?
I mean, it's
think
not
they
going to be
did, right?
free to play, right?
I mean,
you assume it's part of the big purchase. Like they
Yeah.
basically
You
said,
assume.
in lieu of a campaign, we are doing this
Yeah.
battle royale mode.
Oh, are you asking if the Battle Royale is a separate purchase?
no. I was asking if you thought that it was like you do have to buy the game to get it. I assume you
Yeah.
did.
I would bet
Yeah.
$100 that you have to purchase the game.
I don't know if that's come out already in
And
images
it's
stuff.
you got to think like people who like Call of Duty are gonna buy that game even if it didn't launch with this new battle royale mode. And this is just an added incentive. If it takes off, then it's gonna be huge.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any more points on this one, we're going to move on to the solo showdown mode, which they've added in. So it's a competitive mode. It's basically solo queue, top 100, same as usual as far as we know, no different drop rates or anything like that. You can earn V-Bucks by being in that top 100. We'll go over exactly what that is. You also can get a special spray paint. So we'll get some reactions. I don't know if Steven got a chance to play any today to see if the meta is changing, but let's get into a couple very quick specifics. So first of all, you do earn an exclusive spray. We don't know what that is yet. You will ultimately, the exciting part is you can earn up to 50,000 V-Bucks for first place. For places 2 to 4, you can earn 25,000 V-Bucks. From places 5 to 50, 13,500, and then the last 50 places are 7,500. So it's about, $75, $135, $250, $500. So only 100 people are going to win this. So it's not that expensive for someone like Epic to do something like this.
I know.
When you think about it, it's like a really smart idea. And so I think it leads us into more questions. But let's start with, what do you think of this mode?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I just think it's hilarious because we were doing the Call of Duty event and then I get back to my desk and it's like Fortnite's launching this competitive mode. It's like Epic is so resilient.
Yeah.
Like when the Destiny 2 DLC came out, Fortnite comes out with Thanos.
Right. So you think, what, do you think they saw this coming? They're like, whatever.
You think they're going punch for punch with every AAA shooter.
That's probably
on the
a
market.
coincidence. But
Yeah. But to go back to this solo showdown mode, yeah, you basically, it's just a regular battle royale game. You play 50 placement matches.
Yeah.
After you play 50 placement matches, you get
50.
Yeah, and it's only a 4-day event, so
This is insane.
but the matches aren't that long.
Time.
20 minutes.
yeah, depending on how you
Still,
play.
that's 50 matches in
a
the
lot.
span of 4 days.
Yeah, it is a lot, and you get an exclusive spray paint after you complete your 50th match. And what they do is
Oh, so I didn't understand that. You get the spray paint for just completing 50.
50 matches, and that is a
So-
way. It's an incentive for players to try out this mode.
Wait, though, if you win, all you get is V-Bucks? I thought you got like
50,000 V-Bucks.
Yeah, but still.
And you get the bragging rights. This
I
whole
want a
thing
spray
to me
paint
screams
as the
screamer
bragging
bait.
right.
But
That's me.
No, no.
yeah, no,
I
that is
want-
Play
that's
you
cool.
play 50 matches, you get the spray paint,
Okay.
and then
That's cool, though.
depending on where you place in the match, you get a certain amount of points. And then after you play 50 matches, they accumulate all your points and then they total it up. And the person with the highest amount of points after 50 matches will get 50,000 V-Bucks, so on and so forth. I did get to play a bit, and it is different because if you play just a regular match right now, by the time the first circle closes, there's like 30 players left because people just play super reckless in Fortnite.
Yeah, but it's the same rate of closure.
Same everything. I was finding myself after the first zone, there's still like 50 players left. Players are landing super far. They're not rushing like
Playing
crazy
safe.
anymore.
Yeah,
they're
they're
playing
afraid to
super
die.
safe. Yeah, because kills don't matter. It's all about your placement.
So it's like PUBG now.
Yeah, like one of the
Slank prone.
one of the games I played, there was still 20 people left, and the circle was tiny.
Really?
Yeah, people want to get.
It sounds intense, though. Was it? Well, not for this guy. Let's see how.
For players who want to jump in, get as many kills as possible, die, and just keep doing that, it's not as fun.
Sure.
But players who,
that end game appeal.
that end game appeal, it's pretty intense.
Sure. I also think talking about the resource costs of this on the development side, this is brilliant. This is not anywhere near the fidelity or resource costs of something like 50v50 or Thanos or some of the bigger stuff they've done, or even sneaky silencers. However, yeah, it's a spray.
Yeah.
And this is going to incentivize everybody who's interested in that completionist, I need to get every single skin, which is totally me. Like that OCD mindset that gets in there, and now I have to play 50 matches in 4 days. That's nuts. But it totally gives you something to do and grind for.
Yeah, I was doing the math on it a little bit. I mean, yeah, when you think about it, if you jump in and you die in a few minutes, that average, you're not going to play a total of 30 minutes. If you think about all the time to load in and out, if you're almost one every time. But the people in the top 100, it's probably going to take them upwards, call it 25 hours. So that's what we're talking about between now and Monday at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
that is a lot.
Pretty crazy because if you think about it,
By the time you hear the show, actually, it's only days left. So go.
if you're playing a long game, like you place top 10 or top 5, that game is around 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You play 50 of those.
But the point I'm making, right, is to be at that level, you would have to get in the first 50 because it only counts the first 50. So very few, right? Very few people are going to get all like top 2.
Well, certainly,
right?
yeah, certainly. Also,
very
if,
few
if you
people will
throw
have
away
to
the
play 25
aspiration of like I'm going to get into the top 50 or top 100 of like everybody, and you throw away that kind of ridiculous,
50
nebulous
matches.
aspiration, you just go in there and you die as soon as you can too. Like I feel like that is what some people who are coming late to this event are going to do.
Oh, just to get the spray.
Yeah, just go in, die as soon as you can, bounce out.
I still didn't catch that you just get the spray, but doing 50. So that, well, yeah. Don't go in and just die, but
Or do.
give
if
it.
you're
Go to
strapped in time.
Tilted. Get
your
sweaty in
homework.
retail. Do that. But I think it's cool. I think it is going to definitely, to your point, James. Like it's a little inspirational. It's like it's a simple change. And it's a cool reward. And these are the types of things I think we talk about a lot with other games. It's like, what's something simple you can do that is still like a really nice incentivization? And like, I think they nailed it as a start. They said this is the beginning, right? Didn't they? Did they hint at anything else?
Yeah, they hinted at a major announcement in terms of competitive play next week.
Next week.
Yeah. And this mode is actually the first time Fortnite has really incentivized winning.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they're going to announce next week. Could be like an actual ranking system or
Which
something
is
like
interesting. That's actually a very bold claim. I know that sounds ridiculous to incentivize winning, but I think a big part of like Fortnite and certainly games like Battlefield, where you go in and the objective is not necessarily as black and white as it is in a game like Call of Duty or Overwatch, where maybe my incentive in this match of Fortnite is, I just want to get a really crazy, I just want to get a really crazy trap kill.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, according to Steven's predictions, they're going to go punch for punch with Battlefield next Wednesday. So we'll probably hear the announcement then. Again, we don't know when this is going to happen, but we think Battlefield is next week sometime, right? I don't know. Do we know exactly when that's going to happen?
Yes, we do know exactly, and they've tweeted this. It is Tuesday, May 23rd.
Oh.
That is happening at 1 p.m. Pacific
Expect
time.
a Fortnite. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Expect an overlapping Fortnite. I have really high hopes for Battlefield.
Doing any coverage around that, James?
We are. We will be doing, in fact, I believe Steven and myself will be doing a pre and post show. You can tune in at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday the 23rd, and we'll be talking about the history of Battlefield as well as what we're hoping for Battlefield to be.
Possibly a Battlefield Battle Royale.
There it is.
Battlefield Royale, I feel like, is the only logical name for it, but hey, whatever.
Not Battlefield Blackout. All right. So we're excited to see more more Battle Royales. Let's just call them the Battlefield from now on.
Sure.
We're excited to see more on that. I don't think it will be the last of it. Let's get into the next topic. It's a big one in the community right now. They've nerfed traps. They have gone out, nerfed and buffed. The nerf is the big one. It is damage change from 125 down to 75, but they have set the reset time, decreased it down, to only 5 seconds for the reset. I think that's a minor refresh.
That second stat doesn't matter at all. Like that is going to come into play in like
it's
5%
small
of
But in theory, it helps somebody out there occasionally. But here's the big deal. If you're green bar, you're full health at the start, and you got a trap, somebody's chasing you with a shotgun and tilted, you can't really trick them into a trap and survive, right? I mean, Steven, what's your first reaction? Do you rely on traps in the first place much?
Well, one of the most fun aspects of landing in a crazy place, is you land, you find a trap, you don't find a gun, you hear a guy behind you with a gun, you place a trap somewhere, bait him in, and you get a kill. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's very frustrating for the other player, which is why I feel like they made this change. But 75 damage, you can't kill anyone off the bat. Traps are basically useless off the bat. I kind of wish they reduced it from 125 to 100. 75 seems a little too much.
I think that's what's interesting, though, is reducing it from 125 to 100. Like, that just assumes you got a mini. Then maybe you survive.
Yeah.
But which is something. You're right. But I think you're right. They're trying to address the fact that, I'm just running it. Maybe my sound quality is not great. Maybe I'm on mobile. Who knows? And I'm not excusing it. But it is kind of a cheap kill in some ways. It's not really when you're smart about it. Like in some cases, you're right.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's two different.
But that is the side of it. People are getting frustrated that they're getting caught in traps. But I can say personally, my first reaction was sort of like, oh, cool, because I don't get tons of trap kills. It's not like every match, right? But on the other side, I can see it can be frustrating for those who've kind of mastered the trap. But, James, you play a ton of PUBG these days. I know you've played, obviously your fair share of Fortnite, but from, call it a more distant perspective, like, do you care about that type of change?
I think I played enough Fortnite to know that when you get a trap kill, you feel really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a ton of ninja kills where he'll fly down on somebody, build a fort. That is something that will go viral. Thanos got killed by a trap. You just build a little, one by one trap house. Trap somebody, and it's a really cool shareable moment.
Now they're making it harder.
And I think those are gone, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because you have to basically weigh, okay, well, it's viral, it's fun, it's shareable. It makes the person who's doing it feel cool, but how does that compare to how bad it makes the person who's getting killed feel?
Yep.
And like, is this a good gameplay experience? What tools do we have in the game to be able to deal with traps and detect them? I feel like they could have done other things before they went to nerfing the stats. An example would be having the traps make a noise. Like when you plant a ceiling trap or anything, a spike trap, maybe it's just making some kind of ominous like clicking.
I mean, persistent.
Yes,
because it does
like,
what you said.
like a persistent noise.
That would be nice.
Like in the way the chests make
cue?
noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
I think that would have been a better change. I would have liked to see them experiment in that area to affect, because this is totally a player behavior thing. This is not a, oh my God, traps are OP and everybody's winning with traps. This is a people feel bad about traps. So I think the way to address that is simply by tuning the perception of traps and the ability to identify and deal with them, as opposed to just going straight for the stat. But hey, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we need to play it out. I can say that I wasn't somebody that I got caught in traps and was like, I was upset because it ruined, especially in squads and duos and stuff. Like it really ruins your flow. Like, you know, because it takes you down so fast. But it wasn't bothering me, but I can definitely see if you were skilled with it. And I think it falls into that category of the people who were good and are most vocal. We're really hearing from those folks because they really spent time with it. But if you look at the other side, the unheard, yeah, there's probably just a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't believe I got caught in a trap. Okay, I got to reload. And they're looking at that data. You know, if you watch our expert mode with James, check out facebook.com/IGN expert mode. We have a Fortnite episode up there.
Eric Williamson.
Yeah, we talk about this with Eric of how do you address stuff in the community. And actually, they're very persistent, if you've seen. They're like, if the community is loud and talking about it, we really have to address that. So if that's how we feel, just get it out there. I have a feeling they'll totally change it back or whatever. But I have a feeling they're looking at data, and it's like, we really should nerf the trap.
They also could have reduced the spawn. There's so many other levers that they could have pulled, I think, in the interim before jumping to this thing that essentially kills it as a device that players are going to be interested in picking up and using, especially in a context where you have as limited inventory size as you do in Fortnite. You know, the slots really count, especially towards the end of the game. But to your point, I guess they're probably primarily used at the beginning of the game. Still, I feel like they could have nerfed the spawn rate, have them had some persistent sound. I feel like there's other things they could have done before resorting to this.
So as we're sitting here talking, there's always more updates while we're doing the show on Thursday. It's super minor, but there is a new skin. These guys probably haven't seen it. There's the Hazard Agent outfit, but it's kind of showing going after some of these hop rocks or something.
That ties right into our final segment. That is
perfect
fantastic
segue. But you've got this really cool looking Hazard outfit. It looks a little like Dark Voyager. It's in the store, and Outbreak gear is available. So check that out. But yes, perfect segue. The next topic is actually Fortnite Theory. We talked about it on last week's show. Not huge changes this week, but the map has been changing as we go into Season 4, obviously, with meteors hitting the Earth. And there's been minor changes. We've been talking how fast it will change. What we're seeing this week is, number one, in Dusty Divot, that meteorite that's there, there's some drilling into it. There's some red material. I think that could indicate something. And then in Tilted, they're kind of getting cleaned up. They're putting some hop rocks in the back of the truck. And are they being harvested, or are they just being cleaned up? And there's a fork knife truck in Retail Row. It's just a food truck.
Fork knife.
Fork knife.
That's from that tweet.
It's a little play on words.
Well, that's from that tweet. Somebody said, there was a very, very popular tweet, and it was like, I can't get my husband off of fork knife.
Oh, I had no idea.
But it was totally self-aware. Like, they meant to say it, and it was just fantastic. It was very fun.
I love that they put that in the game. I did not know that.
Good stuff.
I wish the host of the show knew that.
What's in that meteorite? Definitely a monster.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Does anybody think it's not a monster before we move on?
I don't know that there's a monster in there.
There's a giant monster.
I want to start with the progression. So
please.
First, stuff crashes into the Earth. Dusty Depot gets destroyed. Now you got Dusty Divot. There's just some fences up, and there's something going on in a crater. The next week, get a lid added to that. It's kind of a lab in the workings, and in the center is this meteorite that seems to be a point of interest. And now we're on this week, and they're drilling into it, and there's this red glowing material in there. So, great question. Do you think, it's a meteor, though. What do you think? That's like the top of its like brain? like I think it's material.
So I think they're gonna chip away this opaque layer. There's going to be a translucent crystallized layer of some kind of frozen giant octopus. H.P. Lovecraft
What do you
monster.
have to fight?
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's going to be another mode.
There's a theory that Omega skin is in the meteor. So if Duggan's theory is right and they chip away at it and then you see Omega.
It's like it's bad?
Well,
Wait, but
you see
Omega
inside it.
So if you're watching the Blockbuster stuff unfold,
he
seems to be escaping from. There was a crash down by or they're making the movie. I guess I'm still confused, but there's down in Moisty, they're making a movie or something. There's a film studio. Prison got crashed, and then it shows like Omega escaping. We see that now. That's Omega, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he's in there, but
or maybe maybe the theory was
his
Alpha was in
true
there?
form.
You're talking about Alpha. So I want to bring that up.
Alpha.
So somebody had this theory.
Alpha and Omega.
Whether or not it unlocks this Alpha skin, because there's Alpha and Omega is the thought process here. But Omega's escaping. There is sort of a villainous lair in Snobby. Truth is, nobody really knows what's going on. But I will say, I do think what I find interesting about this update, two things for me, conspiracy theory. They are drilling into this rock. They're super interested. There's scientists at work, and we're trying to figure out what this glow is. Maybe they're trying to harvest that material for its power. Could we see something other than hop rocks that could be harvested and change the gameplay of it? Because the hop rocks really, in those moments, does. Meanwhile, I don't know what it would mean. In fact, we see it in this new harvesting skin or whatever it was just called. They're cleaning up Tilted Towers, and they're putting the hop rocks in a truck. Someone out there had a theory.
Well, they are cleaning up because they filled up the crater at Tilted.
Yes, they filled it up, and there's a construction truck, but the hop rocks have gotten put in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
So are they getting taken somewhere? Now the conspiracy theory goes it might be getting taken to Omega's lair, and he's harvesting all the hop rocks for I don't know what purpose. I do think it's interesting that the outfit is called Hazard Agent Outfit and Outbreak Gear. Interesting. Outbreak and hazard.
Keyword outbreak.
Outbreak.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that could certainly play into some kind of the thing that we haven't seen in Fortnite yet, and this is just something that in an open world, big multiplayer bombastic shooter you expect to see at some point. Well, actually, this is ridiculous because you see it in Save the World, but we haven't seen any iteration of any kind of zombies or storm infected.
Nothing like that. Yeah.
Fortnite Battle Royale, which is a very intentional choice, but I do think that's a lever they could pull at some point. I do want to talk about how both Fortnite and Overwatch, in my mind, do a fantastic job of having these non-linear storytelling narratives weaved into their gameplay world. And it tells this story through environmental art, through character dialogue.
Yeah,
it doesn't make you watch cutscenes, doesn't make you experience a single-player narrative linear story. You're able to do this, and then you can pair really cool stuff like Thanos with it and stuff that works into your theme for that season.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating that we're like trying to take skin names, pair it with like posters that we see up in, the homes, and now we're like looking at these unlocks for loading screens. It's really cool. I love that they're doing it. Absolutely, they've done a great job of razzing up the community and riling people up. So I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. I'm going to admit it on the show. I thought we might see some bigger changes transpiring, like Tilted getting destroyed, or I guess I'm
rebuilding Tilted.
It's like they're rebuilding it now, but I had told Steven on a previous show, I was like, I think like there's more coming, man.
To the chagrin of everybody. So, I still feel like it has to get through it at some point. But
what, 7 weeks left about till season 5?
7 weeks, yeah. And I expect a lot of changes to happen until then.
Yep. So last few things to end the show out. We're just a little bit over time, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew. I'm sure that you do if you're watching this. But they have added epic and legendary burst assault rifles. And also there are apples out there. So I wanted to get a very fast hot take from Steven on those changes. What do you think about these new additions with this week's update?
I still think the Scar is the best AR.
Gold Scar?
Yeah, but the burst, I'm going to call it a FAMAS. Or yeah, because it looks like one.
Yep.
But it's just the upgraded version of the burst rifle we previously had. It sounds awesome, and it's pretty cool. It's a good gun. I definitely think it's right behind the Scar. The apples are really hard to find sometimes. They're super tiny. They don't glow or anything. You really got to look at the floor.
What do they do?
It's like 5.
You consume one. There's usually like 3 or 4 around a tree.
They grant up to 5 health.
They do grant 5 health.
They grant 5 health.
Yeah.
You can consume up to 20, which will give you 100.
Yes, and then the cool thing about that is bandages in the game right now only take you up to 75.
Sure.
Apples can take you up to 100.
Cool.
Yeah. Just a neat little thing that they could just add, and it's
a season 5 tease for sure.
That's what's inside the meteorite.
We're gonna go back to the season 1 medieval
Apples.
theme.
There's apples inside the meteorite. It's red.
Of course.
And they're glowing.
It all
now,
makes sense.
Too. Also, since you said it on the show, this is Press SMG you kind of thought was trashy.
Yes.
They buffed it. Damage increased by 3. Common is now basically 20 damage. For example, they increased accuracy reset by 25% and increased the damage fall off, though.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
You like it now?
Well, yeah, so I believe it was in episode 1. I was trashing it.
Yeah, that was fair.
And I was using it the other day. It's great now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So check it out. Also, remote explosives, you can kind of throw them faster, detonate them faster. So read the patch update. Obviously, there's way more detail in there, but those were the main changes that we wanted to go over. That is going to be it for the show. I'm super excited, guys, to see more with Call of Duty. I'm assuming we're not going to know more till E3. Is that probably the read on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I feel like everybody's getting their E3 stuff out of the way to avoid leaks. And also, I think it's a really smart strategy to be first to market with these details to beat out the crazy rush and ADHD that happens at E3, because we'll see an announcement like Blackout, and then it'll immediately be overshadowed by something in like 10 minutes.
Sometimes 30 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That trail rolls into the next. And good point that we're going to see a lot of conferences back-to-back. So I think around June 10th or 11th is when we should hopefully hear more on that. That's when Microsoft and Sony start rolling stuff out. So I'm excited. Thank you all for joining on this week's show. Thank you, James. Hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Absolutely.
Steven, thank you very much. Let's get out there, play some Fortnite. Be sure to support the show, like the show, subscribe to the show, set your notifications, the usual plugs that we have to do here. Check out our channel, youtube.com/Royale Rundown. You'll find us there. A ton of other awesome content that Steven and the team do. That's it for this week's show, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.